Hello my motor enthusiasts. Lando Norris from McLaren clinched his second pole position at the Spanish Grand Prix, outpacing Max Verstappen of Red Bull by just 20 milliseconds. While Norris soared, his teammate Oscar Piastri faced setbacks, struggling with car balance and ending his run in the gravel. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell of Mercedes secured third and fourth places, showing promising pace for the race. Ferrari's duo, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz, couldn't match the front-runners, landing fifth and sixth. Meanwhile, Alpine celebrated as both their drivers, Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon, broke into the top 10, aiming for solid points this race. In a grid shuffle, Sergio Perez faces a penalty, pushing him outside the top 10, adding more intensity to tomorrow's starting lineup. Quite the setup for a thrilling race day, wouldn't you say? Hey everyone! You already know me, Enzo, your guide to all things Formula 1.
And this is William. At your service.
Glad to have you all tuning in on F1 Motor Fever podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss our daily dose of racing insights. Full throttle. Moving on to what the teams had to say after today's qualifying at the Spanish Grand Prix, Lando Norris from McLaren was over the moon with his performance. He managed to snatch pole position, which is his second in Formula 1, after making some vital adjustments and delivering what he called pretty much a perfect lap. The team's morale is sky high, and they're gunning for a victory tomorrow.
It's incredible how those small changes can make such a huge difference. Reminds me of when I was a kid, tinkering with model cars. I'd adjust the tiniest things, a little bend here, a tweak there. Sometimes, it felt like I'd done nothing significant, but then I'd race them against my friends, and suddenly, my car was zipping ahead. It's all in the details, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's those minor tweaks that can turn the tables during a race. Meanwhile, Norris's teammate, Oscar Piastri, didn't have the best day. His first lap time was deleted for exceeding track limits, and then a mistake sent him into the gravel on his second run. Despite these setbacks, he's set to start higher up the grid thanks to a grid penalty for Perez.
Tough break for Piastri, but that's racing, isn't it? You have your highs and you definitely have your lows. But as they say, tomorrow is another day, and a race day at that. It'll be fascinating to see how he bounces back.
Indeed, and Andrea Stella, the team principal at McLaren, couldn't be prouder. Securing pole at a challenging track like Barcelona is no small feat. He praised Lando's faultless drive and that last lap, which he described as one of the best Lando's ever done. Stella's hopeful this momentum can be the push the team needs to clinch more victories.
It's those moments that define a season, isn't it? That pole could be a pivotal point for McLaren. Alright, let's put the pedal to the metal and see what tomorrow's race holds.
Just a quick side note, the insights we're discussing today are based on an article from the Formula 1 website. The piece was penned by Becky Hart and first published on the 22nd of June, 2024.
Yes, it's crucial to rely on established and reputable sources like Formula 1's official site. Ensures the facts are checked and the updates are straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. It's always wise to cross-reference information too, just to be on the safe side.
Absolutely, staying informed with accurate data is key, especially in a sport that's as dynamic and fast-paced as Formula 1. Carrying on then. The battle for tomorrow's race is set to be a cliffhanger, with Verstappen narrowly missing out on pole to Norris by just 0.02 seconds. He did have a more connected feeling with the car following some setup changes, and despite not feeling the quickest during practice, qualifying seemed to have gone well. Red Bull have been fine-tuning the car throughout the week, which paid off during the high-speed corners where Verstappen felt particularly strong.
Could you give us examples of how these setup changes might impact the car's performance, especially in those high-speed corners?
Certainly. Setup changes can include adjustments to the car's aerodynamics, like altering the angle of the front and rear wings to balance downforce and drag. This can help the car maintain higher speeds in corners without losing grip. Another example could be tweaking the suspension settings to better manage tire wear over the race distance, which is particularly crucial in a track like Barcelona known for its high degradation.
It sounds like a game of precision where every small change can lead to significant differences on the track.
Exactly, and it's these minute details that can make or break a race. Meanwhile, Norris's teammate, Piastri, faced a tough qualifying, struggling to get into a rhythm and consistently exceeding track limits. However, the team remains hopeful of a strong performance tomorrow, aiming to capitalize on any opportunities that arise from a good start.
And with the unpredictability of race day, it's all to play for. The strategies employed right from the start could dramatically influence the final standings.
Indeed, and that's what makes Formula 1 so exhilarating. Every race weekend writes a new story, and with such tight margins, it's anyone's game. Moving to Sergio Perez, he expressed dissatisfaction with his qualifying position. Struggling initially, and with tyres degrading faster than hoped, he couldn't find the rhythm necessary for a cleaner lap in Q3. Now, starting from 11th due to a grid penalty, he underlined the importance of patience and seizing the right opportunities, especially if conditions turn wet.
It's interesting how much the weather can play into the strategies, isn't it? A wet track could really shuffle the pack and offer some unexpected opportunities.
Absolutely, and Perez is clearly gearing up to make the most of any scenario that unfolds. Meanwhile, Christian Horner noted the narrow miss by Verstappen for pole, but praised the overnight improvements that placed them in a strong starting position. He also highlighted the significance of tyre management for the race, given the expected tyre degradation.
And that's a crucial point, isn't it? How well a team manages their tyre strategy can often be as decisive as raw pace in determining race outcomes.
Precisely. And speaking of tyre strategies, Mercedes seemed to have played it quite smart. Hamilton, despite a rocky start in Q1, managed to conserve enough new tyres for Q3. Their strategic timing in sending out their drivers, much like in Canada, has put both their drivers in a promising position for the race.
It seems like they've learned from past races and are applying those lessons effectively. The smallest margins, just 0.02 of a second ahead of his teammate, could mean a lot on race day in terms of team dynamics and pit stop strategies.
Indeed. With all these elements in play, the car setups, the strategic tyre usage, and potential weather changes, tomorrow's race is shaping up to be a spectacle. It's all these variables converging that make Formula One such a fascinating sport. Over at Mercedes, the mood is cautiously optimistic. Lewis Hamilton noted the team's hard work in improving the car, and he's clearly thrilled with how it's starting to pay off. With a third-place start and the race's long run down to the first turn, he's focused on contending for the win, especially with the expected tyre degradation playing into their hands based on their strong long-run performances in practice.
It seems like tyre management is a recurring theme for success this season.
Indeed, and George Russell echoes that sentiment. He found the car's performance very satisfying throughout the weekend, despite a slight disappointment with the gap to the front runners in qualifying. Both he and Hamilton believe they didn't fully maximize their laps, which might have cost them a better starting position.
And with the unpredictable nature of the race, especially on a circuit like Barcelona, those small discrepancies during qualifying could turn into significant factors on race day.
Absolutely. Toto Wolff, the head of Mercedes-Benz Motorsport, also reflected on the team's performance. Although he acknowledged the car's balance wasn't as good as it had been on Friday, securing positions ahead of the Ferraris was a point of positivity for the team. It's clear, though, there was a bit of frustration about the gap to pole.
That mix of frustration and optimism might just be the right fuel for the team to push harder during the race. It sounds like they are ready to make strategic moves and leverage any opportunity to climb up from their starting positions.
That's the spirit of Formula One, always adapting, always pushing. Tomorrow's race promises to showcase the culmination of all these efforts, and I'm sure it will be packed with strategic plays and intense racing. Moving on to the Ferrari camp, both Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz have shown strong performances this weekend, albeit not as close to pole as they would have hoped. Leclerc mentioned a complete change in car setup from yesterday, which regained his confidence in the car's handling, though the ultimate pace wasn't there.
How significant do you think these setup changes are, especially mid-event? Does it show a team's adaptability or desperation?
It's a bit of both, really. Mid-event changes are a testament to a team's flexibility and deep understanding of their car. It shows adaptability, certainly, but it also indicates that they're not quite where they want to be with their initial plans. For Ferrari, tweaking the setup overnight and seeing immediate feedback in driver confidence is a positive, even if the pace isn't perfect yet. Andrew Chauvelin from Mercedes also highlighted the challenges they faced with car balance. However, he remains hopeful due to their solid long-run pace in practice, which could be crucial in a race that's expected to be heavily influenced by tyre degradation.
With all this talk of tyre degradation, what are the teams likely focusing on in terms of strategy? Is it more about managing the tyres or finding opportunities to overtake?
The strategy will likely be a mix of both. Managing tyre wear is crucial for maintaining pace throughout the race. However, teams will also be looking for overtaking opportunities, especially those starting a bit further back than they would have liked. Having both cars at the front, as Chauvelin mentioned, gives teams like Mercedes strategic flexibility. They can play with different strategies between their two drivers to maximize their overall result.
And with the possibility of tricky weather conditions, do you think we might see some unexpected strategies or outcomes tomorrow?
Absolutely, unpredictable weather can turn the race on its head. Teams might gamble on tyre choices or pit stop timings to gain an advantage. It's these conditions that often lead to surprising podiums and make for a compelling race day. The teams are aware and will be preparing to make the most of any situation that arises. Fred Vasseur, the team principal for Ferrari, summed up their qualifying session as decent but noted that they were just a few thousandths of a second from a better position. Looking ahead, he mentioned the strategic decision to save a set of soft tires for the race, which could provide an advantage, especially at a track where tire management is critical.
Could you give some examples of how saving a set of soft tires might strategically benefit a team during the race?
Certainly. Saving a set of soft tires can be a game changer, particularly towards the end of the race when others might be on older or harder compound tires. For instance, if a safety car were to come out late in the race, having a fresh set of soft tires available would allow a team to pit and take advantage of the increased grip and speed on a shorter sprint to the finish, potentially overtaking several cars. Another scenario could involve using that fresh set for a crucial stint where a driver needs to make up time or defend a position aggressively. Meanwhile, Alpine managed to get both their cars into Q3 for the first time this season. Esteban Ocon expressed surprise at this achievement since they hadn't introduced any new upgrades. He attributed their competitiveness to the car's strong performance right from the start of the weekend.
How significant is it for a team like Alpine to have both cars in Q3, especially without any new upgrades?
It's quite significant. It demonstrates that the team has a solid baseline performance and can extract maximum potential from the car in given conditions. For teams like Alpine, who are competing in the midfield, these achievements are crucial for morale and points accumulation. It's also a strategic boost, as having both cars in Q3 increases their options for collecting points, which is vital for their standings in the Constructors' Championship. Ocon mentioned that they had a challenging free practice 3 due to the hot conditions, but the cooler conditions during qualifying played to their advantage. This adaptability to changing conditions is key for success in Formula 1, where weather can often be unpredictable and significantly impact a car's performance.
What examples can you provide where weather has played a critical role in the outcome of a race?
One classic example is the 2008 British Grand Prix at Silverstone, where heavy rain saw many drivers struggle, but Lewis Hamilton demonstrated masterful control to win the race by a significant margin. Another example is the 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix, where intermittent rain caused numerous crashes and safety cars, leading to an unpredictable race with Max Verstappen showcasing exceptional wet weather driving skills to finish on the podium after starting down in 16th. As Esteban Ocon pointed out, understanding why their car performs well in specific conditions at certain tracks will be crucial for Alpine as they continue to develop their race strategy and aim for consistent points finishes. Pierre Gasly expressed satisfaction with their qualifying performance, placing 7th, which is their best result this season. He highlighted the importance of understanding the sudden increase in performance, attributing it, in part, to maximizing what the car could offer during qualifying.
What might have contributed to such a sudden improvement in their performance? Any thoughts on that?
The enhancement could be down to several factors, like adjustments in the car setup, adapting better to the track conditions, or even incremental improvements from previous races that have started to pay off. The team's ability to extract the maximum from their car during crucial moments like Q3 suggests they are on an upward trajectory in understanding and leveraging their car's capabilities. Bruno Famin, the team principal, also emphasized that while it's their best result of the season, they need to convert this qualifying success into race results. He's keen on maintaining this competitive edge, which means they'll likely continue pushing the development and understanding of their car.
And how about Aston Martin? They had a mixed session, didn't they?
Indeed, a mixed qualifying for Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso nearly made it to Q3 but fell short by just 0.019 seconds. However, he will start in the top 10 due to Sergio Perez's grid penalty. Meanwhile, Lance Stroll faced challenges, including an incident where he was reprimanded for erratic driving during free practice 3.
It sounds like both drivers faced their share of challenges. How critical would it be for them to overcome these in the race?
Extremely critical. Qualifying positions often dictate the strategy and potential success in the race. Starting further back than intended can make or break a race, as overtaking can be challenging depending on the circuit. For Alonso, starting in the top 10 could offer a strategic advantage, particularly if he can maintain position during the initial laps. For Stroll, it's about recovering from a less-than-ideal start, focusing on tyre management, and seizing opportunities to move up the order. Tomorrow's race, with changing conditions predicted, will test all teams' adaptability and strategies. It'll be interesting to see how teams like Alpine and Ferrari, who have shown strong qualifying performances, manage the race dynamics and whether they can capitalize on their starting positions. Moving over to Aston Martin, their team principal, Mike Crack, expressed satisfaction with getting both cars into Q2, underlining the tight competition this season. Fernando Alonso, despite being just a 10th away from the 6th place, will start from the 10th position, thanks to a grid penalty affecting another driver. Crack highlighted their focus on converting these positions into points, especially with the potential of mixed weather conditions adding to tomorrow's race complexity.
How much of a game changer can mixed weather conditions be in a race?
Mixed weather can completely alter race dynamics. It tests the team's adaptability and the driver's skill in managing varying grip levels. Teams might have to tweak their strategies on the fly, deciding when to switch tire compounds and how aggressively to push the car under changing track conditions. It often leads to unexpected podium finishes and can shake up the championship standings dramatically. Meanwhile, at Sauber, they're seeing tangible improvements. Both Valtteri Bottas and Zhou have made it into Q2, with Bottas noting the positive impact of new parts on the car's performance. Although they didn't make it into Q3, they're close to scoring points, which could mark a significant step forward for the team this season.
What difference do new parts typically make to a car's performance from a technical perspective?
New parts can provide improvements in areas like aerodynamics, which enhance downforce and reduce drag, or updates to the power unit that increase efficiency and power output. Each upgrade is usually targeted at specific weaknesses observed in previous races. When these parts perform as expected, they can lead to noticeable improvements in lap times and overall race pace, which seems to be the case with Sauber this weekend. It's crucial for teams like Sauber to capitalize on these advancements, especially when they are still finding their feet in terms of points this season. Tomorrow's race will be an excellent opportunity for them to demonstrate the gains they've made and hopefully translate that into a strong points finish. Zhou Guanyu expressed a refreshed confidence after making it back into Q2, crediting significant changes such as chassis swaps for his improved performance. It's a testament to the team's efforts in making agile adjustments to tackle previous issues. With these advancements, they're eyeing a stronger position in the race, hoping to convert better qualifying positions into actual points.
Could you elaborate on how swapping a chassis can impact a driver's performance?
Certainly. Changing a chassis can have multiple effects, primarily addressing any underlying issues such as structural rigidity or previous damage that might have been affecting the car's behavior. A new chassis often restores balance and predictability, which is crucial for a driver's confidence. This can lead to more consistent lap times and better handling, especially in precision-dependent sections of a track. Additionally, Alessandro Alunni Bravi pointed out the strategic importance of their latest package introduced in Barcelona. It's a track known for its traditional layout, making it a perfect setting to evaluate upgrades. The team's progress was evident as they managed to stay ahead of their immediate competitors like the RBS, the Williamses, and one Haas car.
How significant is it to stay ahead of such teams, specifically in terms of the championship standings?
Staying ahead of direct competitors is vital. It not only boosts the team's morale but also plays a crucial role in the constructors' standings, where every point counts. For instance, overtaking a team like Haas or Williams, who might be just ahead in the standings, can lead to significant gains in terms of both points and positioning. This can further attract better sponsorships and investments, crucial for midfield teams aiming to break into the top tier. Moreover, Alunni Bravi emphasized their commitment to continuous improvements, paying tribute to the hard work at their Hinwil base. Keeping both cars consistently in contention for points is their clear focus, indicative of a strategy aimed not just at occasional high finishes but at sustained performance improvements.
And what about the introduction of new packages? How do they decide what and when to introduce them?
Teams typically introduce new packages based on a combination of data analysis, track characteristics, and the competitive landscape. These decisions are strategic, aiming to maximize potential gains while managing the risks of introducing untested components. For example, a track like Barcelona, with its mix of high and low-speed corners, offers a comprehensive testbed for aerodynamic efficiency, making it ideal for evaluating significant upgrades. These enhancements can range from minor aerodynamic tweaks to major updates like new power units or suspension elements. Each component is rigorously tested both in simulations and during practice sessions to ensure they deliver the expected performance improvements without compromising reliability. Haas has had a challenging time during the qualifications, with Kevin Magnussen dropping out in Q1 due to traffic issues, which certainly didn't help their campaign. Nico Hülkenberg, although advancing to Q2, also highlighted the need for improvements in high-speed balance and overall grip. It's clear that Haas is still finding their feet this season, aiming to overcome these hurdles in the races.
It seems like managing tires has been a significant factor for them.
Absolutely, and it's interesting to note that Haas has improved their tire management compared to last year. They are kinder on their tires, which might just give them an advantage in race conditions, especially with the unpredictable weather that could play a crucial role. It's always intriguing how such technical elements can turn the tables during the race day. Speaking of surprises, Zhou's comeback into form is quite the turnaround. After 3 difficult races, his team is really upbeat about his performance during this qualifying session. It shows just how quickly fortunes can change in Formula 1, with the right adjustments and a bit of regained confidence.
What's the significance of this for Zhou and his team?
For Zhou and his team, this is a critical moment. Regaining form not only boosts a driver's confidence but also galvanizes the team. It's a morale booster for everyone involved, knowing that their efforts in refining the car and strategy are paying off. If they can convert this into a strong race result, it will validate their progress and potentially set a positive tone for the upcoming races. Meanwhile, on the Haas side, team principal Ayao Komatsu expressed disappointment about not getting both cars into Q2, which was their target. It shows just how competitive the field is this year, where even a small misstep like traffic can have a substantial impact on the qualifying results.
With all these dynamics at play, what can we expect from these teams in tomorrow's race?
We're in for an exciting race, that's for sure. Teams like Haas will be looking to capitalize on their tire management, while drivers like Zhou will be eager to translate their qualifying momentum into points. the mix of technical challenges, team strategies, and, possibly, weather changes will make for a compelling spectacle. Everyone will need to be at the top of their game, making split-second decisions that could either make or break their race. RB's performance this weekend has been notably lackluster. Both cars were eliminated early in qualifying, which was not entirely unexpected given their struggles throughout the practice sessions. It seems that despite the introduction of new parts, they haven't quite managed to harness them effectively yet.
That sounds quite challenging. What do you think has been the main issue there?
From what's been shared, it appears that integrating the new components effectively into the car's existing setup has been the crux. Jody Eggington, their technical director, mentioned that while the updates met certain expectations on a broader level, extracting the maximum performance from them has proven difficult. This highlights a significant aspect of Formula One, the constant battle between innovation and reliability. Daniel Ricciardo, for instance, pointed out that although the car felt more cohesive during qualifying, they still lacked pace. It's a stark reminder of how critical it is to align new developments with the car's overall balance and performance needs.
With such results, how does it impact the team's morale?
It's undoubtedly a tough moment for the team, but Yuki Tsunoda's comments were quite telling. He mentioned feeling better in qualifying than in free practice and being able to maximize what the current package could offer. It shows a resilient team spirit and a focus on learning from these challenging times to improve. Keeping morale high and staying positive is crucial, especially when the team is facing such hurdles. Looking ahead, they have a few races coming up with similar track characteristics. This provides them a bit of a continuity to test and refine the changes they are making. It's about long-term strategy as much as it is about immediate results. They'll be keen to use this experience to adjust and hopefully find those crucial tenths of a second that can make all the difference.
So, moving forward, what should we be watching for with this team?
We should keep an eye on how RB adapts their strategies in response to these setbacks. How they manage their resources, tweak their setups for upcoming races, and most importantly, how they support their drivers to extract maximum performance. It's going to be about fine-tuning and perhaps a bit more risk-taking in the races to come. Plus, with the weather potentially playing a role, their ability to adapt could be key to turning their fortunes around. Williams has had a challenging time lately, with both drivers exiting early in the qualifying sessions. Alex Albon's performance was initially promising in free practice 3, landing in the top 10, but the qualifying didn't reflect the same potential, which was quite unexpected.
It sounds like a tough scenario for them. What seems to be the core issue?
The issue primarily lies with the car specifications. Logan Sargent pointed out that the cars weren't on the same spec, particularly the floors they've introduced, which unfortunately underperformed. Despite efforts to adjust and make them work throughout the weekend, they still face significant challenges. What's more, the midfield battle this season is exceptionally tight. Even minor setbacks can push a team towards the back of the pack, which is precisely what happened with Williams. Albon mentioned that despite the car feeling good and having made substantial progress compared to last year, the competitive nature of the midfield means that any small deficiency is magnified.
How are they planning to tackle these issues moving forward?
The team has a considerable amount of homework to do. They're planning to delve deeply into the aerodynamic data they've gathered here in Barcelona to understand better and rectify the issues. Both drivers have been actively involved in providing feedback, which should help the engineering team to make the necessary adjustments. With the Austrian Grand Prix on the horizon, they'll need to extract more from the car to avoid similar disappointments. It's a critical period for Williams, and the upcoming races will be telling in terms of how well they can bounce back from these setbacks.
It must be quite disheartening for the team, especially given the strong performance in Canada.
Indeed, it's a stark contrast to their showing in Canada, and it highlights just how variable performances can be in Formula One due to changes in track characteristics and technical adjustments. But, as Albon said, it's a very close midfield this season, and opportunities can arise unexpectedly. They'll be keen to seize any chance that comes their way in the upcoming race. The midfield battles in Formula One have always been intense, but this season they seem to be fiercer than ever. Today's qualifying saw comebacks and disappointments in equal measure. Sven Smeets mentioned that despite not making it into Q2, there's a positive takeaway in that the drivers are more satisfied with the balance of the FW46 compared to last year's model.
That's quite an improvement then. It shows progression, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's these incremental improvements that eventually lead to significant gains. Speaking of improvements, Mario Isola from Pirelli highlighted how today's pole time was almost a second quicker than last year's. It's indicative of how teams are pushing the envelope on performance, tweaking every possible aspect from car engine tire integration.
With the temperatures dropping and potential rain on the horizon for tomorrow's race, how do you think this will play out for the teams?
Well, the cooler track conditions and the forecasted rain could indeed be game changers. Lower temperatures mean less wear and tear on the tires, but rain could mix things up considerably. Isola pointed out that in the dry, using a combination of medium and soft dry compounds would be ideal, but rain could shift strategy significantly, possibly making a three-stop strategy viable.
It's going to be a challenge for the drivers to manage tire performance throughout the race, especially with those changing conditions.
Definitely. The final free practice session was crucial for teams to work on this, understanding how their cars and tires respond to these cooler conditions. Tomorrow's race promises to be intriguing with all these variables at play. It's all about adaptation and making swift decisions based on the conditions at hand.
It seems like there will be a lot of strategic calls to make.
Yes, and that's what makes Formula One so thrilling. The combination of driver skill, team strategy, and of course, a bit of luck with the weather, all contribute to the unpredictability and excitement of each race. Tomorrow is no exception, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all unfolds. William, what's the word on the street, internet-wise?
Right, listen to this. User Icom Coffee said, quote, Charles Leclerc receives a reprimand for his incident with Lando Norris in free practice 3, unquote.
Oh, that stirred up a bit of a hornet's nest, hasn't it?
Indeed, it has. User Economy Link for 609 fired off with, quote, how many reprimands until a slap on the wrist, unquote. And the responses have been quite witty. User Etched Chaos chimed in, quote, 5 reprimands gets you a citation, 10 citations gets you a slap on the wrist, 3 slaps on the wrists gets you a talking to, unquote.
That does sound like a convoluted disciplinary system, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and it gets even better. User L. Watt Tully added, quote, 2 talking tos though? That's a paddling, unquote. Meanwhile, user Razo Russ 9 asked, quote, what's the conversion of talking tos to Stanley Nichols, unquote.
Ha. They're having a good go at the inconsistency, aren't they?
They sure are. And there's more. User Silverstone Monza Spa highlighted the severity of the incidents, saying, quote, it's the first case of clearly intentional crashing in free practice that I can remember, and they were both so clear. It's an awful precedent to set that you can crash into an opponent if they block you and get a finger wag, unquote.
That's a serious point amidst the banter. The ramifications of such decisions can really affect the sport's integrity.
Right, and user Visionary Socialist added his 2 pence, quote, thankfully precedent and consistency are not things that the FIA place much value in. So expect the next guy who does this to get disqualified and the guy after him to get a £50 fine, unquote.
That sums it up quite neatly. It seems the fans are quite tuned into the nuances and the apparent randomness of these decisions.
They certainly are. And with the passion they bring, it makes these discussions all the more vibrant and essential for the sport. What do you reckon?
Spot on. It's this kind of engagement that keeps the sport on its toes. Let's hope the authorities are listening as keenly as we are. Thanks for tuning into F1 Motor Fever podcast today. We've had a thrilling discussion on the latest happenings in Formula One, covering everything from on-track incidents to fan reactions. We appreciate you joining us and lending your ears. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and share our episodes. Your engagement truly helps us grow and keeps the community vibrant. If you have thoughts or questions, drop a comment below. We love hearing from you.
And remember, we're here spinning the wheels of conversation every single day. Who knows what's around the next bend? Maybe some surprise guests or unexpected F1 news. Keep your notifications on so you don't miss out.
Absolutely, and thanks once again from both of us. It's been a pleasure, and we're looking forward to having you with us next time. Keep those discussions lively and your enthusiasm revved up.
And hey, bring your friends along for the ride next time. The more the merrier, right? Let's make this community the best pit stop on the internet.
Pedal to the metal, keep your gaze on the road, our channel's content is pure gold. See you at the next race, folks.